2 lights. Is that all you really need? Today we're going to look at what you can achieve when only using 2 production lights. So we're going to go through a bunch of lighting breakdowns, look at how I set them up and achieved each of these shots. So we'll be featuring 2 fixtures in this video, the Nanlite Alien 300C, which is a 350 watt RGB WW LED panel. Very punchy, lots of output, has an integrated softbox, it's IP55 water resistant, and we're also going to be looking at the Nanlite Pavotube Mark II 15XR, which is also an RGB WW LED tube. Very flexible, great for rigging up in small places. Both of these lights can be controlled using Nanlite's app. So this video is going to look at how I like to use a 2 light combo out on professional jobs, but also look at their capabilities and give you some ideas for lighting creative setups. So we're going to look at everything from documentary work to narrative. So disclaimer time, Nanlite did provide me with these lights and they also did provide me with a tiny bit of budget to make this video. So consider this more of a showcase than an independent review. But generally I only really feature equipment on this channel that I would use in professional shoots. And in the small time that I've had these, I've had them for about 5 weeks now. I think they've been out now on about 10 client shoots. So that's normally a good sign that I dig them. I thought it'd be fun to set up a little scene in the corridor of our flat. I wanted to go for something that looked fairly naturalistic on camera, so not too atmospheric or over the top with haze. Steph is obviously our leading lady, so we need to make sure we light her with lots of soft light. Corridors are notoriously tricky spaces to light. You've got narrow spaces, lots of opportunity for light to spill around and bounce off walls. So here we've actually got a key light, the Alien 300C in our kitchen, set warm to 2700 Kelvin. And we're basically bouncing this off the wall and ceiling of the kitchen, and then using that soft bounce to spill out into the corridor to provide a beautiful soft wrap around Steph. We're effectively using the doorway to cut the light as it comes out and control the spill of it. And we're suggesting that this is a practical light source coming from the kitchen that is illuminating our leading lady. Out in the hallway, I have then used the overhead practical lights to provide some motivation for the warmth of the light. Again, we're suggesting that this is all sort of lit with practical lights. And then the Pavotube is just basically mounted above us, pointing down. This is again set to 2700 Kelvin, and it's basically just filling in the shadow side of the back of my head, just to sort of bring that tone up a little bit and just give a bit more focus on me. It's clamped onto the top of the door frame with a Cardellini clamp. Everyone should have one of these or a couple of these in their lighting kits. It's also orientated vertically with an egg crate on. Done both of this to control the spill of the light. We don't want any of that sort of spilling onto the corridor walls and giving the game away or breaking the illusion of the natural lighting setup. I could have run the Pavotube on battery, but I forgot to charge it, so it's running off mains and the wire is gaffed out the way. Little tip, the Pavotube does come with specialist mounting points, but I found the quickest solution by far is to use one of these little clamp heads which can attach on top of your lighting stand. You can get them very cheaply from Amazon, link in the description down below. And that way I can just basically sort of clip the light in and rotate it into the position I want to. The best bit about this setup is that it actually works both on your sort of wide and mid shots, but also when you go in on the tight close-up shots. I didn't have to change anything in the lighting setup. You can just see how beautifully soft, delicate the wrap is around Steph's face. I love it. It's nice and warm. It's providing just enough level to lift the tone on her face and lift her out from the background behind her. And here's another example where we've got maybe like a tungsten motivated scene. We've got 2 warm practicals on, one in the background. We're using the Alien just to push a bit of warmth onto Steph's face. And then we're just using the Pavo again as a hair light just to pop her out from the background. And you can see the BTS setup here using just 2 lights. The Alien 300C has been a great all-purpose jack-of-all-trades light to bring on shoots, and it's taken on just about every lighting role I use lights for, everything from key lights from lighting talent, to a backlight or hairlight, to providing room tone. I recently had a documentary shoot where we had to travel by train, so I knew you had to pack relatively light. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to combine the Alien with the Pavotube. In this instance, we had the Alien set to about 60% to balance with the back window and the exposure of the room. As we were setting up, we noticed these orange heat lamps which were sort of fixed halfway up the wall around the studio. So we left that on and then we set the Pavotube to match a similar orange colour, and we did this very quickly using the Nanlite app to sort of add this motivated orange edge lighting. But thankfully, because this light has a really great colour range, it was really quick to dial in. And with the Alien, it has this handy integrated pop-out softbox with an egg crate that just pops on top. And it means that this light is just really quick set up, in a matter of minutes. The integrated softbox is on the small side, so another layer of diffusion can really make a difference. And with the Alien, even when you are comparing it to sort of other panel lights that I own, so the Amaran F22C or even my favourite, the Godox F200 Bi, those lights aren't necessarily quick lights to set up, especially the Amaran. You've got to build the frame for the panels, mount the panel onto the frame, then mount the softbox, and it's about a 10-minute job to set either of those lights up, maybe a little bit more. The Alien, you just boink it on a stand, unclip the softbox, and you're pretty much good to go. Because it is a larger light source with good output, it's also great for providing general room tone. So whilst we were on this particular doc shoot and working in this workshop, we were capturing B-roll and other sequences, moving around the workshop, shooting handheld. And we wanted to play with the orange heat lamps and the daylight coming in, but we also just needed more room tone. So to match the sort of like tungsten feel of overhead lights, we just set the light to a warmer tungsten tone, raised it up on a stand a bit, and then just tilted it upwards and blasted it straight into the ceiling, and then used that bounce and general room tone just to bring the level of the room up and provide some nice diffuse light throughout the space. And I've really loved using this in combination with the Pavotube. So this is a really great small flexible light that you can pretty much chuck anywhere. You can stick it on a light stand or you can clamp it onto somewhere in your environment. And as a sort of low profile doc shooting setup where you've got a travel light, combination of these two lights I think is fantastic. I've been on a kind of a bit of a backdrop bender over the last few years. I've been confronted with tiny spaces to shoot interviews in, and the spaces themselves are just not very good and don't look very nice. And I've been sort of looking and experimenting with using coloured backdrops, and I eventually settled on some of these sort of fabric coloured textured backdrops. So just pop-up backdrops, so like a 5-in-1 reflector like the one we're using here for the neg. Again, using the Alien light and the Pavotube, I've experimented with providing like a really elegant and classy look that is quite transformative on smaller spaces. I'll leave a link for the backdrops in the description down below. You can pick them up off Amazon. They're about 100 quid or something like that, and really easy to pack down and transport. Just maximize the amount of diffusion on the setup here. So we've got the diffusion from the softbox on the Alien. Then I just wrapped a basic, I don't know, £5 shower curtain, frosted shower curtain around it. And then I've just walked in this scrim, which again is really simple to set up. And because of the egg crate that's on the Alien, we get some control over the direction of the spill of the light, and we get some nice contrast on the face. And then we're just using the Pavotube on a Cardellini stand. It's mounted up on the bookcase there, really simple. And on this setup, it's just dialed into cool, but I've experimented with this setup using different colors. I've experimented with using a warmer backlight, and I think this shot with Steph here is my favorite. I've got it really dialed in. Daylight balance key with a slightly warmer and very subtle hair light, just popping her out from the background. And on one of these setups, I did cheat a little bit. I did use a little pocket aperture MC light to just push a little bit more warmth onto the backdrop, but you don't necessarily need it. In this talking head shot I've got now, I'm not using any additional backlights, and I just love the look of this sort of setup. It's simple, it's quick, and you can achieve it in pretty much any space using just 2 lights. Both the Alien and the Pavotube have great color fidelity and output. And again, using these two lights, they're really fun to work with in that you can mix and match and play around with color contrast, using one color as a fill and one as a backlight. And I just spent an evening the other week just playing around with different setups. And in none of the situations I've used these lights, I've ever run up with needing more output, even though, no matter how much diffusion I'm adding, like with the Alien, it's always super punchy and gives you just enough output. And because it's a larger source rather than a cob light, it does provide a nice fill and sort of illuminate a large area. I think especially when you're starting out, lighting can take a while to master, to get your head around. And yes, whilst having a huge lighting arsenal is always going to be preferable, lighting kit's expensive, right? It takes time to build up your kit. So I think as long as you have one powerful main light accompanied with some sort of small auxiliary riggable accent light or hair light, you should be pretty set for most situations. And I love this particular combo for that because it gives me the power of two RGB WW lights. We have the high output of the Alien, a 350 watt light, and then the flexibility and size of the Pavotube means that this is a pretty killer and versatile combo which should have you sorted for all sorts of shooting situations. So I really rate the Alien lights. Thank you very much to Nanlite for sponsoring and providing these lights for tests. Do let me know if you've got any questions about these lights in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about them. Also, what's your favorite setup that we featured today? I really love the little corridor shoot that we did. If you've got any ideas for things you'd like me to try in the future, let me know. I'm sure I'll be making some more lighting breakdowns over the next few months. Now we've got darker evenings. It does make it a bit easier to control lighting and set stuff up in the flat. So yeah, thanks for watching. We'll have some affiliate links in the description down below for the various things featured in the video. So consider buying from those if there's anything you want to pick up that was featured in this video. So yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I'm Ed. Give this video a like, consider subscribing if you're not, and until next time, I'll see you later.